Eyes bigger than the brain. The amazing anatomy of ostriches. As strange as it may seem, ostriches have eyes bigger than their brains. These huge birds have the largest eyes of any land animal, with a diameter of up to 5 centimeters. But despite this, their brain is relatively small. However, thanks to their large eyes, ostriches can see far distances and detect danger long before it gets close. What incredible creatures ostriches are. Large eyes but a small brain that still manages to perform all the necessary functions. Why is Maine known as the Lone Ranger State? Maine is the only U.S. state that shares a border with just one other state, New Hampshire. This unique geographical feature makes Maine something of a loner among the states. If you're someone who enjoys solitude and quiet, Maine might be the perfect place for you. Known for its stunning natural landscapes, rocky coastlines, and quiet forests, Maine stands out for its geographic isolation and proud, independent spirit. Can you imagine which vegetable is the oldest in the world? Peas hold the title of being the oldest known vegetable, with evidence of cultivation dating back to 9750 BCE. This small green legume has been an essential part of human diets for thousands of years, grown by ancient civilizations and valued in many cultures across the world. Peas aren't just a simple vegetable. They represent the enduring legacy of certain foods throughout human history. Who would have thought that the humble pea has accompanied humanity for so long? Can you imagine there's a bridge in Sweden that goes underwater? In Sweden, there is a unique bridge called the Öresund Bridge, which connects the country to Denmark. This bridge suddenly ends and dives underwater, turning into a tunnel. This engineering marvel was designed to avoid interfering with sea traffic. Driving from Sweden to Denmark gives the feeling that you're diving into the sea right in your car, adding an exciting element to the journey. Did you know the largest diamond in the world weighed more than 3,000 carats? The Cullinan diamond, found in 1905 in South Africa, is the largest diamond ever discovered. It weighed a staggering 3,160 carats. This unique gem was divided into several pieces, some of which adorn the British royal regalia. This diamond is a true wonder of nature, and its size is simply breathtaking. Did you know glass actually flows? Contrary to popular belief, glass is not entirely solid. Over time, glass slowly flows, though this process can take hundreds or thousands of years. In old buildings, you might notice that glass windows have become slightly thicker at the bottom. This happens because the molecules of glass gradually shift downward under the force of gravity, making it behave more like a very slow-moving liquid on a molecular level. Did you know that the King of Sweden has almost no power? Contrary to popular belief, the King of Sweden is not an active political leader. His role is purely symbolic, performing mainly ceremonial duties. Sweden is a constitutional monarchy, where political power lies with the parliament and the prime minister. Nevertheless, the king continues to play an important role in the cultural and social life of the country, representing Sweden on the international stage and attending state events. Interestingly, the Swedish royal family is considered one of the most popular and respected in the world, despite having minimal political influence. Did you know that the USA leads the world in Olympic medals? The United States holds the all-time record for Olympic Games medals. American athletes have earned more than 2,900 medals throughout the history of the Games. It is the only country to have won more than 1,000 gold medals. The USA continues to dominate, winning medals at every Olympics since the start of the Games in 1896. In 2024, at the Paris Games, the USA became the first country to surpass 3,000 total medals. This is a phenomenal achievement. Why does Sweden have one of the strangest museums in the world? In Stockholm, there is the Museum of Failure, where you can find exhibits of failed inventions, products, and services that did not meet expectations. For example, you can see Coca-Cola with a coffee flavor, strange household gadgets, and even video games that flopped. The creators of the museum believe that we learn from mistakes, and that failure is an essential part of any discovery. Visitors often marvel at how bizarre some ideas can be, and how far people go in their pursuit of innovation. This museum has become a place where you can laugh at the past and rethink what success means. Did you know there's a banana you shouldn't eat? In Hawaii, a unique type of banana called the plantain banana grows, which, despite its appetizing appearance, is not meant to be eaten. It tastes very bitter, somewhat like a potato. Locals use it for weaving traditional crafts rather than food. Tourists are often surprised by these bananas, but the locals are quick to warn, don't try eating them. Why can't ostriches walk backward? Despite their powerful legs, ostriches have one surprising limitation. They can't walk backward. Their joints and muscles are structured in a way that prevents them from moving in reverse. But these birds can reach speeds of up to 70 kilometers per hour, making them excellent runners capable of escaping danger in record time. Did you know why watches in ads show 10 past 10? Most watch ads show the hands set at 10 minutes past 10. This is no accident. This position creates a visually pleasing appearance that resembles a smiling face. Additionally, this way, the hands do not obscure the company's logo, which is typically placed at the 12 o'clock position. This layout also highlights balance and symmetry, making advertising photos even more appealing. The first computer bug was a real bug. In 1947, a real moth flew into one of the first computers, causing it to malfunction. This unexpected visitor became the first documented computer bug. Since then, the term bug has been used to describe any glitch in a computer system. Who would have thought that a tiny moth could play such a big role in technological history? This little incident also gave rise to the term debugging, and the story remains a quirky part of tech lore. Xbox controllers in U.S. submarines, gaming revolution at the Navy's service. Can you imagine that the U.S. Navy uses Xbox controllers to operate periscopes on submarines? This unexpected fact came about due to a desire to make control systems more intuitive and user-friendly for young sailors who are familiar with video games. Additionally, using off-the-shelf gaming controllers significantly reduces the cost of developing complex military systems. This move not only simplified the work of sailors but also made it a lot more fun. Who would have thought that a beloved gaming gadget would find a place in such serious conditions? Can you imagine that computer memory once used magnetic rings? In the early days of computing, memory was made up of tiny magnetic rings through which electrical signals were passed. These rings stored data, and they could be erased by reversing the current. Despite their small size, this technology was groundbreaking and used until microchips were invented. The rings were literally strung on wires, and every bit of memory was worth its weight in gold. Welcome to a town with a population of 1. Imagine an entire town with only 1 resident. Monowai, a small town in Nebraska, USA, has a population of just 1 person, Elsie Eiler. She wears many hats: mayor, librarian, and bar owner. This tiny town with a population of 1 is a unique place in the U.S. Elsie runs everything on her own, collects taxes from herself, and serves the few tourists who pass by. Monowai is a living example of a one-woman show, drawing attention because of its uniqueness and Elsie's story. Cows have a phenomenal sense of smell. Cows can boast an extraordinary sense of smell, capable of detecting scents from up to 6 million meters away. This means a cow can sniff out fresh grass or a water source from miles away. This sensitivity helps cows navigate their surroundings, find food, and avoid danger. But their sense of smell isn't just about finding food. It also helps them recognize their calves and even other herd members. This ability underscores how important the world of scents is to them, and how closely they are connected to the natural environment. It turns out the world's smallest reptile is the size of a fingertip. The world's smallest reptile is the leaf chameleon, native to Madagascar. This tiny creature measures only 29 millimeters from nose to tail, smaller than a fingertip. Despite its minuscule size, male leaf chameleons boast bright green and orange patterns, while the females have elegant shades of brown and beige. Discovered in 2012, this remarkable species continues to amaze scientists with its tiny yet colorful existence. Did you know that turtles can breathe through their butts? Yes, you heard that right. Turtles, especially species like the Fitzroy River turtle, can breathe through their cloaca, the opening they use for reproduction and waste excretion. This amazing ability helps turtles absorb oxygen from the water, allowing them to stay underwater for long periods. This process is called cloacal respiration, and it's yet another example of how unique and diverse survival methods are in the animal kingdom. So next time you see a turtle, Remember that it's a true master of breathing from both ends. Who would have thought that jellyfish are 95% water? Jellyfish are almost ethereal in appearance, and no wonder, 95% of their bodies are made of water. This high water content allows them to float gracefully through the ocean, moving with the currents as if weightless. Despite their simple structure, jellyfish have existed for hundreds of millions of years, perfectly adapted to life in the ocean. Their delicate watery forms remind us of the fragility and beauty of marine ecosystems. How about this? In Sweden, there's a competition for the worst-smelling socks. This may sound absurd, but Sweden holds an annual competition called the Stinky Sock Contest, where participants compete for the title of owning the smelliest socks. The competition attracts many brave souls willing to wear their socks for months without washing in hopes of winning. The socks are judged based on intensity and aroma, and the winner gets not only the title, but also unique prizes, such as a year's supply of new socks. It sounds weird, but this contest really exists. Is it true that most dust is dead skin? Imagine that every day you shed millions of skin cells that turn into dust in your home. Dead skin cells make up a significant portion of household dust, along with clothing fibers, hair, and pollen. On average, a person loses about 200 million skin cells every hour. Of course, this doesn't sound very pleasant, but nature has designed your skin to constantly renew itself. In fact, one of the oils on your skin, squalene, helps reduce the harmful effects of ozone in the air, making your skin's microbiome a true protector of your environment. So, the next time you're wiping down dust, remember, you're essentially cleaning away your yesterday cells that have already served their purpose. Amazing how the body continually renews itself and maintains balance with the environment. Did you know the creator of the Frisbee had his ashes turned into a Frisbee? After the death of Walter Morrison, the inventor of the Frisbee, his ashes were turned into a Frisbee. This unusual tribute not only kept his spirit alive, but literally made him part of the game he created. It's a reminder that a person's memory can fly on, encouraging us to enjoy every moment of life. Why did the famous bridge in Venice almost sink? The Rialto Bridge is the oldest and one of the most recognizable bridges in Venice. It began to sink shortly after its construction in the 16th century. Venice itself is subject to constant flooding, so the bridge has gradually sunk over time. Engineers have conducted numerous restoration works to preserve it, but Venice still faces the threat of sinking, and the Rialto Bridge serves as a reminder of the fragility of this magnificent city. Astronauts don't float in zero gravity like we think. Many people believe that astronauts experience total weightlessness in space, but that's a common misconception. In reality, they are constantly falling toward Earth, but at such a high speed that they never crash into it. This continuous fall gives them the feeling of being weightless, a fantastic example of how the laws of physics turn space into a magical realm of floating. Turns out there are bridges that speak. In some places, such as the Millennium Bridge in London, special plates emit sounds when people walk on them. These sounds are designed to resemble whispers or voices, creating a unique atmosphere. Especially at night, such a bridge becomes a real attraction, drawing tourists with its mystical sounds. Can you imagine a snowflake the size of a plate? In 1887, the largest snowflake ever recorded fell in Montana. It was 15 inches wide and 8 inches thick. That's the size of a dinner plate. Imagine being under such a snowstorm. This amazing event went down in meteorological history as the most unusual snow phenomenon. So next time you complain about the snow, think, it could have been much bigger and more impressive. Superfetation. Is it possible to get pregnant while already pregnant? Could this really be true? It turns out yes. Superfetation is a rare medical phenomenon in which a woman can get pregnant while already being pregnant. This occurs when ovulation continues even after conception, which typically doesn't happen as the body halts the ovulation cycle after pregnancy begins. As a result of this rare condition, a woman can carry 2 embryos of different ages simultaneously. Though extremely rare in humans, this phenomenon occurs more frequently in the animal kingdom, especially in certain species of fish and mammals. It's amazing but true. The human body is full of surprises, and sometimes nature can break its own rules. Did you know the hummingbird is the smallest bird in the world? The hummingbird, found in Cuba and nearby islands, is the world's smallest bird. The smallest species of hummingbird measures only 5 centimeters in length and weighs around 2 grams. But don't let its size fool you. This tiny bird is a real powerhouse. It can beat its wings up to 200 times per second, making it one of the fastest creatures in nature. This incredible little wonder can hover in place, feeding on flower nectar. It's hard to believe, but there are trees that walk. In the Amazon, there is a palm tree known as Socratea exoryza, which locals call the walking palm. This tree can move short distances over the course of several years in search of better growing conditions. Its roots gradually shift, causing the palm to step. While it's not a real walk, the plant's ability to move toward the light makes it unique in the plant world. Do you think hot water freezes faster than cold? It is a common misconception. Although it sometimes seems like hot water freezes faster, cold water usually freezes faster under most circumstances. This is because cold water is already closer to the freezing point. However, there is a mysterious phenomenon known as the Mpemba effect, which sometimes causes hot water to freeze faster. Scientists are still debating how exactly this effect works, and its mechanisms remain a mystery. But if you need ice quickly, it is better to start with cold water. Amazingly, octopuses have 3 hearts. Octopuses are fascinating creatures with 3 hearts. One pumps blood to the body, and the other 2 pump blood through the gills. Moreover, their blood is blue because it contains copper instead of iron. This makes octopuses not only mysterious, but also some of the most unique creatures on Earth. It's hard to imagine that nature could create such amazing beings with such a unique system. How do insects breathe without lungs? Insects have a fascinating respiratory system. They don't have lungs, but instead breathe through tiny pores called spiracles. These spiracles are located on their thorax and abdomen, allowing air to flow through a network of tubes called tracheae. Some insects can even control their breathing by opening and closing the spiracles, and in low oxygen conditions, they can temporarily slow their metabolism by recycling the oxygen stored in their tracheae. This respiratory system is just one of the many ingenious adaptations that help insects thrive in diverse environments. You might be a descendant of Genghis Khan. In 2003, scientists conducted a study that revealed that about 16 million men worldwide share a common Y chromosome with Genghis Khan. This means that approximately 1 in 200 men is a direct descendant of this famous conqueror. Genghis Khan and his descendants left a significant genetic legacy across the vast regions he conquered. Although this study focuses on the paternal line, it shows just how intertwined history and genetics can be. How can mysterious desert music frighten even the bravest? In the Sahara and other large sand deserts, you can hear an extraordinary sound often called the singing sands. When the wind blows over the surface of the dunes, the sand emits a deep hum as if an orchestra is playing an invisible symphony. This sound can be so powerful that it can be heard for miles. Some researchers think the sound is caused by the sand moving across the slopes, while local tribes believe it is the voices of desert spirits guarding their lands. The slowest musical composition will last 639 years. In 2001, a group of musicians began playing John Cage's piece called As Slow as Possible. This unique performance is set to last 639 years and will finish only in 2640. Just think. Several generations of people will listen to the same musical piece, hearing only slight changes in melody each year. This is the longest musical performance in human history. Surprisingly, there's a town in Norway where every house stands on stilts. In Røros, Norway, almost all houses are built on wooden stilts. This ancient technique helps protect the buildings from moisture and snow. The historical center of the town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And today tourists come to see how ancient construction methods have remained relevant for centuries. This town stands as a living monument to how people adapted to the harsh conditions of the north. It turns out that hippos secrete bloody sweat to protect themselves from the sun. Hippos' skin produces a special reddish liquid that acts as sunscreen and has antiseptic properties. This bloody sweat not only protects hippos from harmful UV rays, but also helps heal wounds. In the wild, this feature makes hippos true survival experts who have found an amazing way to shield themselves from the sun. Is it possible? The most venomous snake in the world lives in Australia. The inland taipan, also known as the fierce snake, is the most venomous creature on the planet. The venom from one bite is powerful enough to kill over 100 people. Despite its fearsome reputation, the inland taipan is a very shy and elusive snake, preferring to avoid contact with humans. It can be found only in remote parts of Australia, where it hunts small mammals using its incredible speed and deadly precision. Isn't it interesting that hedgehogs can swim? These little spiky creatures don't seem built for water, but they are surprisingly good swimmers. Hedgehogs can not only swim, but also hold their breath underwater. They puff up like little rafts and can cross rivers and lakes if necessary. Although they don't often need to, the ability to swim helps them survive in the wild, proving that even the smallest creatures can be great adventurers. The accident that changed the world, the invention of the popsicle. Have you ever wondered how the popsicle was invented? It was pure accident. In 1905, an 11-year-old boy named Frank Epperson left a mixture of soda water and a stick outside overnight. The next morning, the mixture had frozen, and thus the first popsicle on a stick was accidentally invented. Years later, when Frank grew up, he began selling his frozen treat, which quickly became a hit. His children suggested naming it a popsicle, and the name stuck. That's how a simple mistake became a beloved dessert for millions around the world. Have you ever wondered that there are underground oceans? Beneath the Earth's surface, there are massive water reservoirs, which could be called underground oceans. The volume of water in these reservoirs exceeds that of all the oceans, lakes, and rivers on the surface. These hidden waters are located hundreds of kilometers deep underground, and scientists are just beginning to understand their role in the planet's geological processes. Radioactive bananas. Yes, it's true. Did you know that bananas are radioactive? Yes, your favorite fruit contains a small amount of the radioactive isotope potassium-40. But don't worry, you would have to eat a huge number of bananas at once to be harmed by radiation. This natural radioactivity poses no health risk, but it does make bananas an interesting example of how nature can surprise us with unexpected properties. So the next time you enjoy a banana, you can impress your friends with this surprising fact. Why is there a village in China where nearly everyone lives past 100 years? In the Chinese village of Bama, nearly every other resident lives to be 100 years old or more. Scientists believe it's due to the clean air, mineral-rich water, and a diet rich in local herbs and vegetables. The locals also lead active lives, working physically well into old age. Tourists come here hoping to learn the secrets of longevity, but the villagers say the key is harmony with nature and a positive outlook. Laser. Did you know that the word is an acronym? We're all familiar with the word laser, but did you know that it's actually an acronym? LASER stands for Light Amplification by Stimulated Emission of Radiation. This describes a complex process in which energy is focused to create a powerful beam of light. Lasers are used in a wide range of fields, from medicine to scientific research and entertainment. They have become an integral part of modern technology, yet few people realize that the word laser itself is a technical term that hides an amazing process, one that has made the world even more technological. Earth's gravity. Why isn't it the same everywhere? Have you ever wondered why gravity varies slightly in different places on Earth? It turns out this is due to many factors, such as altitude, the density of Earth's crust, and the distance from the equator. Gravity is stronger at the poles and in places with denser crust like mountain ranges, because these areas are closer to the Earth's center. Conversely, gravity is weaker at high altitudes, such as on top of Mount Everest and near the equator. These variations are caused by the distribution of mass on the planet and the fact that Earth is slightly flattened at the poles. This highlights the complexity and uniqueness of our gravitational field. Now you know, in some places on Earth you weigh a little more or less than in others. Can you imagine? Flamingos aren't born pink. Baby flamingos come into the world with grayish-white feathers. They develop their signature pink hue only after they start feeding on brine shrimp and blue-green algae. These colorful foods contain pigments called carotenoids, which gradually turn their feathers pink. It's a vivid transformation that turns these elegant birds into the beautiful pink creatures we adore. So the next time you see a flamingo, remember, their color is all thanks to their diet. Did you know that the oldest tattoo is over 5,000 years old? In 1991, archaeologists discovered a mummy known as Ötzi in the Alps. Ötzi is around 5,300 years old, and on his body, they found 61 tattoos, mostly lines and crosses. These tattoos may have been used to relieve pain, as they are located near acupuncture points. It's fascinating to think that ancient civilizations used tattoos not just for decoration, but also for healing purposes. Hard to believe, but the sun makes noise and we can hear it. Although space is silent in the usual sense, scientists have found a way to hear the sun using special instruments. The sound of the sun is produced by vibrations on its surface and inner layers, caused by thermal processes. Scientists have converted these vibrations into sounds that we can hear. If you could listen to the sun, it would sound like a low humming noise. These solar vibrations help astrophysicists study the sun's internal structure, predict solar flares, and understand the processes happening in its core. Did you know that there's a stone forest on Earth? In China's Yunnan province, you'll find one of the most unique natural phenomena, the Shailan, or stone forest. This astonishing forest isn't made of trees, but of towering limestone pillars that rise towards the sky like jagged spikes of rock. The age of this extraordinary forest is over 270 million years. Erosion from rain and wind has sculpted the rocks into such bizarre shapes. For centuries, people have attributed mystical powers to this place, and local legends claim that spirits of nature inhabit Shailan. It's so majestic and mysterious, it almost looks like a set from a fantasy movie. Why do chickens peck at their food? When a chicken finds food and pecks it on the ground, it's not just a random habit. This process is called beak pounding and helps chickens break down food into smaller, easier-to-manage pieces. A chicken's powerful beak acts like a tool to crack seeds and other tough bits of food. This behavior is common among many birds, but chickens do it with particular zeal, allowing them to get more nutrients and energy from their meals. Next time you see a chicken pecking, remember it's using its own little kitchen tools. Can you imagine that some flowers eat mice? This isn't science fiction, it's reality. There are carnivorous plants such as the nepenthes or pitcher plants that can trap and digest not only insects but also small animals like mice. These plants secrete sweet nectar to lure their prey, and once the animal falls into the pitcher, it can't escape. The plant world is far more cunning and mysterious than it seems. Why do lightning bolts often strike the same place? Lightning strikes tend to favor certain spots. For example, Lake Victoria in Africa is one of the most lightning-prone places in the world. Why does this happen? It's due to unique climate conditions that create almost continuous thunderstorms. Warm air rising from the lake's surface meets cooler air currents, triggering constant electrical discharges. Here's what's even more interesting. Lightning can strike the same place several times in a short period, and it's not a myth. Researchers found that high ground conductivity also plays a key role in attracting lightning to specific spots. Ban on cars on Mackinac Island. How horses defeated cars. Imagine an island where cars have been banned since the late 19th century. Mackinac Island in Michigan became a place where in 1898, automobiles were completely banned because they frightened horses, the primary mode of transport at the time. Amazingly, this ban remains in effect to this day. Now, you can only get around the island by horse, bicycle, or on foot, and even deliveries are made with horse-drawn carts. Mackinac Island is a unique place where you can enjoy quiet streets without the noise of cars. How would you react if you found out that moving lakes exist in Kenya? In Kenya, there are unique salt lakes that change location depending on rainfall levels. These lakes can disappear for months, only to reappear in a new location after the rainy season. Researchers believe that the movement of water in these lakes depends on underground rivers and tectonic shifts. Such lakes create a unique ecosystem, attracting animals and birds that follow the water. Did you know that the highest peak in Pennsylvania is lower than the lowest point in Colorado? This surprising fact highlights the incredible diversity and contrast in the geography of the United States. Pennsylvania's highest point, Mount Davis, stands at only 983 meters, which is actually lower than the lowest point in Colorado, the Arkansas River, at around 1,000 meters above sea level. Geography can sometimes surprise you with unexpected comparisons like this one. Did you know that a jiffy is an actual unit of time? The term jiffy is not just a figure of speech, it's a real unit of time. In scientific terms, a jiffy is defined as the time it takes light to travel 1 centimeter in a vacuum, which is approximately 33 picoseconds. While we often use the word to refer to something happening quickly, scientists have made it a measurable moment. This fun fact shows that even the quickest of moments can be quantified if you delve deep enough into the mysteries of time. Did you know that the world's smallest mammal weighs less than a penny? The bumblebee bat holds the record as the world's smallest mammal, weighing less than a penny. Native to Southeast Asia, these tiny bats live in caves and hunt for insects with remarkable efficiency. Despite their small size, just about 2 grams, they are perfectly adapted to their environment. The bumblebee bat demonstrates that nature's diversity includes even the tiniest of creatures, each playing an important role in the grand tapestry of life. Why does Turkey build palaces for stray cats? In the streets of Istanbul, you can find miniature houses that look like palaces, built especially for stray cats. The locals consider cats sacred animals and care for them with great love. Some of these houses even feature carvings and balconies with food and water bowls nearby. These cat palaces have become symbols of Turkey's respect for animals, and tourists often admire these little masterpieces around the city. Did you know Venus spins backwards? Unlike most planets in our solar system, Venus rotates in the opposite direction, meaning the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. Scientists are still unsure what caused this bizarre behavior, but one theory suggests that Venus may have collided with a massive asteroid long ago, altering its axis. And here's another mind-blowing fact. A day on Venus is actually longer than its year. Why is the sky blue? The answer lies in science. Have you ever wondered why the sky appears so bright blue? This phenomenon is explained by the scattering of sunlight in the atmosphere. As sunlight passes through the Earth's atmosphere, it collides with gas molecules and scatters in all directions. Blue light has shorter wavelengths, so it scatters more than other colors. This is what makes the sky appear blue to us. It's one of those natural wonders that surround us every day, but are often taken for granted. Did you know that some frogs can freeze solid and still survive? It turns out that certain frog species, like the wood frog, can completely freeze during winter and come back to life in the spring. These amazing amphibians can survive sub-zero temperatures by freezing almost entirely solid. Their hearts stop beating, they stop breathing, and their bodies turn rock hard. Yet when the weather warms up, they thaw and return to their usual lives, hopping around like nothing happened. Nature's cold storage system proves that frogs are some of the ultimate survivors. Black panthers, a sleek coat, not a species. The term black panther doesn't refer to a separate species of animals. It's actually a name for leopards or jaguars with a rare coloration, melanism. Melanism is an excess of dark pigment that makes their fur appear nearly black, creating a sleek and mysterious look. For example, about 11% of all leopards have this striking coloration, turning them into real shadows of the jungle. This genetic phenomenon not only helps the panther blend into the dark forest, but also gives it a legendary status among big cats. How about this? In Italy, there is a village built on lava. In Italy, at the foot of Mount Etna, lies the village of Bronte, known for having some of its homes built directly on ancient lava flows. Volcanic eruptions often created layers of lava so solid that entire structures could be built on top. This unique feature has made Bronte famous worldwide. What's even more astonishing is that the locals are not afraid to live next to an active volcano, believing that the ancient lava protects their homes from new eruptions. Why zebra foals start running right after birth? Zebra foals can run just 1 hour after being born. This amazing ability helps them survive in the wild where predators are always on the lookout. Baby zebras are born with strong legs that allow them to stand up quickly and keep up with their herd. Thanks to this skill, they can avoid danger from the very start of their lives. Imagine being able to run within an hour of being born. These striped cuties are ready to show off their impressive speed and agility right from the start. Why does freshly cut grass smell so good? The fresh scent of newly mowed grass is actually a distress signal. When grass is cut, it releases chemicals to warn nearby plants of danger. These compounds, known as green leaf volatiles, are a plant's way of signaling that it has been injured. This remarkable mechanism highlights the sophisticated communication that exists even in the plant world. So, the next time you enjoy the smell of cut grass, remember, it's nature's way of calling for help. Can you believe that the world's oldest cheese was found in a tomb over 3,000 years old? In 2014, archaeologists in China made an incredible discovery: the world's oldest cheese, buried in the tomb of a nobleman from the Bronze Age. Dating back to the 16th century BCE, this ancient cheese was made from a mixture of cow, goat, and sheep's milk. Thanks to the unique burial conditions, the cheese was well preserved, with a crumbly texture and a salty flavor. Interestingly, the bacteria used to make this cheese had consumed the lactose during fermentation, making it lactose-free. Tyrannophobia, an unusual fear you might not know about. Did you know that the fear of being tickled by feathers has its own name? It's called tyrannophobia, and it's characterized by an irrational fear of being tickled by feathers or even by feathers themselves. While this phobia is rare, it can cause significant stress and anxiety for those who suffer from it. This unusual fear is yet another example of how unique human fears can be and how they can impact daily life. The lonely giant, the saddest whale on the planet. Imagine a whale that sings at a frequency no one else can hear. This unique whale, dubbed the 52 Hertz whale, is known for singing at 52 Hertz, much higher than other whales. Because of this, it cannot communicate with other whales, and it is considered the loneliest whale in the world. Scientists and the public have followed this whale since the 1980s, and its solitary songs remain a mystery. Perhaps its story is more than just an anomaly. It could be a symbol of our own isolation in the modern world. Sleeping with one eye open, how dolphins and birds stay vigilant. Some animals, like dolphins and many birds, have the incredible ability to sleep with one eye open. This phenomenon is called unihemispheric sleep, where one half of the brain sleeps while the other stays awake to monitor the environment. This helps animals stay alert and avoid dangers like predators. For example, dolphins can sleep while staying on the water's surface and continue to breathe. Birds can rest in mid-flight or perched on a branch while remaining vigilant. This remarkable adaptation is an example of how nature has developed incredible survival mechanisms in the most challenging conditions. Did you know giraffes barely sleep? Giraffes are masters of the power nap. These towering creatures need only about 1 hour and 9 minutes of sleep a day, and even then they break their sleep into short bursts, perfecting the art of napping. This remarkable adaptation shows how nature can surprise us with its creativity. Imagine how productive humans could be if we only needed 2 hours of sleep per day. Can you believe it? There are islands that appear and disappear. In some parts of the world, especially in the Indian Ocean region, there are sandy islands that appear and disappear depending on the tides. These islands are known as ghost islands. They may only exist for a few hours or days before being submerged again. This incredible natural phenomenon raises questions among scientists about how such unstable ecosystems form. Did you know the African elephant is the largest land animal on Earth? African elephants are true giants. These majestic creatures can weigh up to 14,000 pounds, about 6,350 kilograms. That's like a small car on 4 legs. These gentle giants are a symbol of nature's greatness, and their size is awe-inspiring. Is it possible that giraffes only sleep 30 minutes a day? These incredible animals can survive on minimal sleep. Giraffes sleep for only about 30 minutes a day, and they even do it standing up. They have a special mechanism that allows them to rest in short intervals of a few minutes to avoid predators. With such long legs, they can quickly spot approaching danger. Did you know that kangaroos have a spare pregnancy? Kangaroos have an amazing ability that's truly astonishing. Female kangaroos can delay the development of an embryo for several months if the conditions aren't favorable for the birth of a joey. This process is called embryonic diapause. Imagine that a kangaroo can literally put its pregnancy on hold if it's already caring for a young joey, or if there isn't enough food. When conditions improve, the embryo continues its development. This biological marvel helps kangaroos survive in Australia's harsh and unpredictable climate. Can you believe the fastest land animal can run at 120 kilometers per hour? The cheetah is nature's sprinting wonder, capable of reaching speeds of up to 120 kilometers per hour, which is about 75 miles per hour. However, its incredible speed is only for short bursts, as the cheetah can maintain this pace for just a few seconds before exhaustion and heat set in. Despite this, its brief but powerful sprint makes it the king of land predators. But if we're talking about speed in general, the absolute champion remains the peregrine falcon, which we discussed in our last video. This bird can dive at speeds exceeding 300 kilometers per hour. Believe it or not, the world's smallest island is only a few square meters. Bishop Rock, located in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of England, holds the title of the world's smallest island. Its area is only 8/1000ths of a square kilometer, just 3/1000ths of a square mile. Despite its tiny size, the island boasts a lighthouse and is the most westerly point of England. It's officially recognized in the Guinness World Records as the smallest inhabited island, proving that even the smallest piece of land can be home to something remarkable. Wow. Sunflowers follow the sun. Sunflowers are not just stunning flowers. Young sunflowers are natural sun trackers. This phenomenon, called heliotropism, allows them to turn their heads throughout the day to follow the sun's movement from east to west. This remarkable ability helps sunflowers optimize sunlight absorption for photosynthesis, boosting their growth. As they mature, they stop following the sun and permanently face east. This fascinating behavior illustrates how plants adapt to their environment to thrive. The first computer mouse was made of wood. In 1964, Douglas Engelbart invented the first computer mouse, and it was made of wood. This device, with 2 metal wheels, revolutionized how humans interact with computers. Today, modern mice are much more advanced, but that wooden mouse remains a landmark in computer history. Did you know the largest living organism on Earth is a mushroom? The honey fungus, also known as the giant mushroom, covers an astonishing 2,385 acres in the Malheur National Forest in Oregon, USA. This fungus forms a massive underground network of mycelium, which is the vegetative part of the fungus that spreads beneath the soil. The mycelium isn't visible to the naked eye, but it is responsible for the mushrooms that appear above the ground. Can you imagine one organism covering such a vast area? It's a true wonder of nature that few people know about. How did jellyfish learn the secret of immortality? In the deep ocean lives the jellyfish Turritopsis dohrnii, known as the immortal jellyfish. Unlike other creatures, this jellyfish can revert to its juvenile state, effectively rewinding time. If it ages or suffers injury, it simply regenerates, starting its life cycle over. This process is called transdifferentiation. Scientists believe that the jellyfish's genetic mechanisms may one day help humans extend their lives. Studying the immortal jellyfish not only captivates us but also opens the door to discovering the secrets of eternal youth. It's interesting that footprints on the moon will last for millions of years. Due to the lack of atmosphere on the moon, the footprints left by astronauts may remain for millions of years. There is no wind or water on the moon to erase footprints or even the marks left by spacecraft. This means that the footprints from the Apollo missions, left in the 1960s and 1970s, will remain almost unchanged for millions of years. The moon's surface is like a time capsule of space exploration history. How iron buttocks help Samsung test phone durability. Have you ever wondered how smartphone manufacturers test the durability of their devices? Samsung uses a rather unusual method to test their phones. They created a special robot shaped like human buttocks that sits on phones to simulate the pressure people exert when they sit with their phones in their back pockets. The robot even wears jeans to make the test as realistic as possible. This innovative testing helps the company ensure that their devices can withstand everyday challenges and won't break under pressure. It's fascinating that buildings can be cooled without electricity. There are technologies that allow buildings to stay cool using special insulation and solar reflectors. So-called green roofs are covered with vegetation, creating natural shade and preventing overheating. Additionally, reflective materials are used to bounce sunlight and lower indoor temperatures. In this way, on hot summer days, these buildings remain cool without air conditioners or electricity. Did you know that there is a country where money is made of plastic? In Australia, all banknotes are made of polymer, not paper. This makes them much more durable and harder to counterfeit. Australian polymer money can last up to 2.5 times longer than paper notes, and can easily withstand humidity and even being submerged in water. In fact, due to this technology, plastic has become the currency material of choice for more than 30 countries. Additionally, Australian money can be cut in half, and each half is still considered legal tender until replaced. Surprisingly, ancient mirrors were actually dangerous. Early mirrors were made from metals like copper or bronze, which could create blinding reflections and even accidental fires. In Roman times, convex mirrors that concentrated sunlight were popular, much like magnifying glasses. This made them both dangerous and expensive, accessible only to the wealthiest. Modern mirrors are safe, but ancient ones still hold a bit of magic and danger within them. There's a white giraffe in the world, and it's not a fairy tale. In Africa, a unique white giraffe was discovered, suffering from a rare genetic condition known as leucism. Unlike albinism, leucism allows the giraffe to retain pigment in its eyes, but its skin lacks color. This rare giraffe has become a subject of intense focus and was even equipped with a special tracker to protect it from poachers. Its snow-white color makes it vulnerable but also a unique creature in the wild. Did you know that the Kuwaiti dinar is the most valuable currency in the world? The Kuwaiti dinar, KWD, holds the title as the highest valued currency in the world. Despite Kuwait not having the largest economy, its currency's unique exchange rate gives it incredible worth. One Kuwaiti dinar is equivalent to about $3.30, making it one of the most valuable currencies globally. This means that even a small amount of Kuwaiti dinars can be worth a lot when exchanged for other currencies. How would you react if you found out there is an underwater museum in Greece? In the Aegean Sea near the coast of Greece, there is a unique underwater museum. This archaeological site allows visitors to dive with scuba gear and explore ancient shipwrecks and artifacts lying on the seabed. It is the first underwater museum of its scale and attracts both history enthusiasts and divers from around the world. It's hard to believe, but the Hercules beetle can lift 850 times its own weight. This incredible insect lives up to its mighty name. The Hercules beetle is capable of lifting loads that are 850 times heavier than its own body weight. With such astonishing strength, it's no wonder that this beetle stands as a symbol of nature's incredible feats of strength. The Hercules beetle is a true powerhouse in the insect world, showing that even the smallest creatures can perform extraordinary feats. Why do people love talking about themselves? Studies show that people spend about 60% of their conversation time talking about themselves, and on social media, this number goes up to 80%. This is because people enjoy sharing their thoughts, experiences, and personal stories. Especially in the age of social media, these platforms have become spaces for self-expression and connection. This fact provides an intriguing insight into human nature. The desire for communication and recognition. Olympus Mons is the largest volcano in the solar system. Olympus Mons, located on Mars, is the largest volcano in the solar system. It stands at a height of 21 kilometers, with a base diameter of 600 kilometers. This colossal mountain is so huge that if you stacked 3 Mount Everests on top of each other, they still wouldn't reach its summit. Olympus Mons is a true mountain of fire and one of Mars's greatest mysteries. Is it true that time flows differently in space? Yes, and it's due to Einstein's theory of relativity. The faster you move or the closer you are to an object with a strong gravitational field, the slower time passes for you relative to the rest of the universe. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station literally age more slowly because they're moving at high speeds. This phenomenon is called gravitational time dilation. Did you know that frogs can retract their eyes to swallow food? Some species of frogs have an incredible ability to help them swallow their prey. They retract their eyes into their heads. When a frog catches an insect or small prey, its eyes sink deep into its skull. creating pressure that pushes the food down its throat. It's a strange, yet fascinating spectacle in the world of amphibians. Frogs have evolved amazing adaptations that allow them to survive in various environments, and this is just one of the many unique features of their anatomy. Who would have thought that polar bears have black skin? Yes, beneath their snowy white fur, polar bears actually have black skin. This may seem surprising, but nature designed these animals to have the best possible insulation for surviving in freezing environments. Their black skin helps them absorb more sunlight, while their hollow, transparent fur traps the sun's rays, creating a thermos effect. This incredible adaptation allows polar bears to stay warm in the extreme Arctic cold. Although their fur appears white, it merely reflects the surrounding light, making them almost invisible against the snow and ice. Why hasn't Ireland's population recovered 160 years after the famine? Imagine a country unable to fully recover its population for more than a century and a half. That's precisely what happened to Ireland after the Great Potato Famine of the mid-19th century. The famine, caused by crop failures, led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands and the mass emigration of millions of Irish people around the world. Even today, 160 years later, Ireland's population is still 2 million less than it was before this tragedy. This incredible demographic puzzle remains a testament to the devastating impact of those events. How does Germany successfully run a crocodile farm? At the crocodile farm in Saarland Zoo, more than 100 crocodiles live comfortably even in Germany's harsh climate. This zoo is equipped with water heating systems that create ideal conditions for these exotic reptiles. Despite the cold winters, the crocodiles act as if they're in the tropics. Tourists can even watch them lazily swim or feed, making this one of the region's main attractions. What is a clouder? Meet a group of cats. Have you ever wondered what a group of cats is called? It turns out the proper term is clouder. This quirky word is used to describe several cats gathered together. There are other terms like glaring or pounce for groups of cats, but clouder sounds especially charming. The next time you see a bunch of cats hanging out, you can impress everyone with your knowledge of this unusual term. What's hidden in Lego's secret vault? Lego has a secret underground vault that stores every single set of building blocks the company has ever made. It's a true time capsule filled with nostalgia and creativity, waiting to delight fans of all ages. Imagine the wonders hidden beneath this vault, where both classic and modern sets are stored together. This vault is a dream come true for Lego enthusiasts, preserving the company's entire legacy. Did you know there's a glacier on Pluto the size of Texas and Oklahoma combined? It turns out that on the distant dwarf planet Pluto, there's a massive glacier called Sputnik Planitia. This glacier covers an area the size of Texas and Oklahoma combined. Amazingly, this glacier is made of nitrogen ice, not water, as it would be on Earth. At the center of this region lies a heart-shaped feature made of frozen nitrogen that slowly flows, similar to glaciers on Earth. This fascinating landscape is just one of Pluto's mysteries that continue to amaze scientists. Each planet in our solar system is truly unique. Did you know Yellowstone is the world's first national park? Yellowstone National Park, established in 1872, was the first national park in the world. Located mostly in Wyoming, USA, it is a true natural wonder. The park is famous for its geysers, hot springs, and wildlife, and it sits atop a massive volcanic caldera. This makes it not only a beautiful, but geologically unique place on the planet. Yellowstone is Mother Nature's masterpiece, attracting millions of visitors each year. Can you handle the heat of the world's spiciest chili pepper? The Carolina Reaper, bred by farmer Ed Curry in South Carolina, USA, holds the record for being the hottest pepper in the world with a Scoville rating of 1,600,000 units. That makes it 640 times hotter than a jalapeno. Its wrinkled red skin may look harmless, but consuming it can cause intense pain, sweating, and even vomiting. This is one fiery adventure that only the bravest dare to taste. Thumbs have their own pulse. Have you ever wondered why people check their pulse using their index and middle fingers instead of their thumbs? It's because your thumb has its own pulse. Each thumb is supplied with blood by the radial artery, which runs along the wrist on the thumb side. This artery is so strong that you can feel its pulse when you touch it. That's why it's recommended to avoid using your thumb when taking a pulse, to prevent mixing up its pulse with your actual heartbeat. Now you know that even your thumb has its own little heartbeat. It's amazing, but the platypus is one of the strangest creatures on Earth. This incredible Australian animal, which looks like a mix of different creatures, has baffled scientists for centuries. The platypus lays eggs, produces milk for its young, and has venomous spurs on its hind legs. This combination of traits makes it one of the most unique mammals on the planet. Despite its odd characteristics, the platypus has lived on Earth for millions of years and remains a symbol of nature's mysteries and evolution. Did you know that the first frozen dinner was created in 1953? Imagine this. The frozen dinners we're so used to were once a culinary breakthrough. In 1953, Swanson introduced a frozen meal styled after a Thanksgiving dinner. This meal was in response to the need for quick meal preparation, and since then, frozen foods have become a staple of our diets. Today, the variety of frozen meals is staggering, from pizzas to exotic delicacies. Just think how a simple solution for leftover food turned into a multi-billion-dollar industry that has transformed our eating habits. Can you imagine that Cleopatra, the famous queen of Egypt, wasn't Egyptian by birth? Cleopatra VII, the last ruler of ancient Egypt, was born into the Ptolemaic dynasty, which was of Macedonian and Greek descent. She was the first in her family to learn the Egyptian language and adopt local customs, making her a unique figure in history. This queen, who blended cultures and identities, seems to have stepped right out of legend, connecting ancient civilizations and shaping her own remarkable story. Can you guess which insect is the heaviest in the world? The giant weta, native to New Zealand, holds the title for the heaviest insect in the world. This massive bug can weigh up to 70 grams and more than a sparrow. Wetas can grow up to 10 centimeters long and are truly giant compared to typical crickets. This insect is the heavyweight champion of its species and continues to amaze even the most experienced entomologists with its colossal size. Did you know that the peacock is the most colorful animal on Earth? The peacock, native to Asia, is crowned as the most vibrant animal on the planet. Its stunning array of colors includes brilliant blues, greens, yellows, purples, and reds. These dazzling feathers not only captivate potential mates but also help the peacock ward off predators. Each feather is like a masterpiece, and together they create a living rainbow in nature. The peacock is truly a spectacle of nature, flaunting its colors like a work of art. Hard to believe, but the largest iceberg was the size of Jamaica. The largest iceberg ever recorded broke off from the Ross Ice Shelf in Antarctica in 1986. It was about 280 kilometers long and 80 kilometers wide, making its area comparable to the size of Jamaica. This gigantic iceberg was so massive it could easily have housed entire cities. It drifted in the ocean for several years, slowly melting. Wow! Did you know that spiders can jump incredible distances? A jumping spider can leap up to 15 times its body length. This would be like a human leaping across a football field in one bound. These spiders use their back legs as springs, compressing them and then suddenly straightening to get a powerful push. Jumping spiders also have keen eyesight, allowing them to accurately target prey or safe landing spots, and even avoid predators. Can you imagine that some fungi control insects? Deep in the Amazon rainforest lives a fungus called Ophiocordyceps, which literally turns ants into zombies. The fungus invades the ant's body and takes over its mind, forcing it to climb up a tree before it dies. Then the fungus sprouts out of the ant's head and releases spores to infect others. It sounds like a horror movie plot, but these fungi really exist, and it's one of nature's most mind-blowing phenomena. The secret to flight. 4 forces that keep a plane in the air. A plane's flight isn't just about its wings. In reality, there are 4 forces at work: lift, thrust, drag, and gravity. Lift keeps the plane in the air thanks to the wings. Thrust propels the plane forward through its engines. Drag resists the plane's motion and gravity pulls it down. These forces work together to maintain stable flight, like a well-choreographed dance where each force has its role. Understanding these forces can make the marvel of flight even more fascinating. Butterflies taste with their feet. Butterflies travel the world not just by flying but by walking on their food. They have taste receptors located right on their feet, giving them a sort of built-in gourmet GPS. These special sensors allow butterflies to quickly find the perfect leaves to lay their eggs. Imagine living in a world where you don't taste with your mouth, but with your feet. Butterflies live in that curious reality every day. Our genome, 3.2 billion pairs of DNA, and they are all key to our uniqueness. Imagine that your entire uniqueness is encoded in a sequence of 3.2 billion pairs of DNA bases. That's how many pairs make up the human genome. This genetic code determines everything from the color of your eyes to your predisposition to certain diseases. Each of us is the result of a combination of these pairs, which are passed down from generation to generation. Despite all the complexity and amount of information, our genome is incredibly well organized. It's like an instruction manual for assembling our body, holding the secrets of our health, appearance, and even personality. Cucumber versus watermelon. Who wins the water battle? Believe it or not, cucumbers contain more water than watermelons. While we tend to think of watermelon as the most watery fruit, cucumbers actually contain 95% water, while watermelons have around 91 to 92%. This makes cucumbers slightly more watery than their red counterparts. So if you want to quench your thirst on a hot day, a cucumber might be even more effective than watermelon. It's amazing how such simple vegetables can hide surprising facts. Can it be true? Saudi Arabia imports camels from Australia? Yes, it's no mistake. Camels, once brought to Australia from the Middle East for farming and transportation, are now being exported back to Saudi Arabia. Camels have thrived in Australia's environment, and their population has grown significantly. Now they are exported back to the Middle East, where they are used for similar purposes. Surprisingly, Australia is now a global leader in camel exports. Who would have thought that these desert animals would complete such a unique historical cycle? Believe it or not, the world's smallest volcano is just 13 meters high. The smallest volcano in the world is called Cuexcomate, located in Puebla, Mexico. This tiny volcano stands only 13 meters tall and has a width of 8 meters, making it quite miniature compared to others. It was formed in 1064 due to an eruption from the nearby Popocatépetl volcano. While Cuexcomate is classified as dormant, it sometimes releases steam and sulfur gases, reminding visitors of its volcanic nature. Fun fact, you can actually climb this volcano, making it a perfect adventure for those looking to scale a pint-sized peak. Did you know that animals can be allergic to humans? Believe it or not, allergies aren't just a human problem. Animals can suffer from them too. Some pets can develop allergies to human dander, just like we can be allergic to animal fur. This can cause symptoms such as breathing difficulties and skin irritation, much like the allergic reactions we experience. It's a surprising reminder that allergies don't discriminate between species, and even our beloved furry friends can be sensitive to us. Why does the King of Hearts in a deck of cards have no mustache? If you've ever taken a close look at a standard deck of cards, you may have noticed that the King of Hearts is the only king without a mustache. This small detail, often overlooked, makes him unique among the other kings. Depicted as clean-shaven, this little quirk adds a bit of mystery to the standard deck of cards that we all know and play with. Chocolate cosmos. Imagine a flower that smells like chocolate. The chocolate cosmos, Cosmos atrosanguineus, is a flower that might surprise you with its scent, reminiscent of real chocolate. This dark red flower, native to Central America, is so rare that it's almost extinct in the wild. Yet it continues to be cultivated in gardens worldwide to enjoy its unique aroma. Imagine strolling through a garden where, instead of floral scents, you breathe in the sweet, enticing smell of chocolate. It's nature's gift to those with a sweet tooth. Why does fish rain actually happen? In the city of Lloro, Honduras, an unusual phenomenon occurs every year: rain of fish. This strange natural event happens during the heavy summer storms when hundreds of live fish fall to the ground along with the rain. Locals call it lluvia de peces and believe it to be a divine blessing. However, scientists suggest that strong waterspouts form in the atmosphere, lifting fish from nearby bodies of water and depositing them kilometers away. It's one of those phenomena that remind us how surprising and unpredictable nature can be. Blind sight. How can someone see without realizing it? Imagine being blind but still being able to see movements and objects. This phenomenon is known as blind sight. It occurs in people with damage to the visual cortex. Even though they don't see in the conventional sense, they can intuitively detect the location of objects and even guess where they are moving. How is this possible? Other parts of the brain are still able to process visual information. This fascinating phenomenon makes us wonder about how much our brain does in the background without us even being aware of it. Isn't it fascinating that our brain stays alert when we sleep in a new place? Have you ever noticed that you sleep less soundly the first night in a new place, like a hotel or a friend's house? This is due to a phenomenon known as the first night effect. It turns out that part of our brain remains on guard when we sleep in an unfamiliar environment, helping to protect us from potential threats. Studies show that the left hemisphere of the brain remains more active than the right, allowing us to react more quickly to external stimuli. This ancient survival mechanism helps our bodies adapt to new surroundings. But don't worry, over time, the brain adjusts to the new place, and the first night effect fades, allowing you to sleep more peacefully. Did you know your brain consumes 20% of your body's energy? Despite accounting for only 2% of your body weight, the brain consumes a whopping 20% of all the energy your body produces. This means that every time you think hard or solve complex tasks, your brain is working like an energy-hungry organ. Next time you feel mentally exhausted, remember, your brain is truly burning calories as if it's training for a marathon. Did you know that wild bananas are full of seeds? Most people imagine bananas as sweet, soft fruits, but it turns out that wild bananas are quite different. They are literally packed with large seeds, making them extremely inconvenient to eat. The bananas we enjoy today are the result of selective breeding, which has made the seeds almost invisible. Imagine, without human intervention, bananas would be a completely different fruit, and eating them would be far less enjoyable. Did you know that ancient maps showed sea monsters? During the age of exploration, when sailors had no idea what lay beyond the horizon, maps often depicted enormous sea monsters. The cartographers who created them frequently drew giant squids, whales, and snake-like creatures in the seas and oceans, warning future travelers of what lay ahead. Some monsters on these maps were inspired by real encounters with unknown sea creatures, while others were pure fantasy. For sailors of that time, a map was not just a guide, but a warning about the dangers lurking beyond the known world. Sharks can smell a drop of blood from miles away. Sharks have one of the most impressive senses of smell in the animal kingdom. They can detect blood in a ratio of 1 part per million of water, allowing them to track their prey from great distances. This ability makes sharks some of the most dangerous predators in the ocean. Their olfactory system is so developed that they can detect even the slightest changes in the chemical composition of water. Sharks not only track prey, but can also avoid potential threats, making them true masters of survival. This incredible sense of smell enables them to hunt effectively, even in the deepest, darkest waters. So if you find yourself in the ocean with a cut, beware. A shark could sense it from miles away. Did you know it's impossible to breathe and swallow at the same time? Want to know why? It's all thanks to a small flap in our throat called the epiglottis. When you swallow, the epiglottis automatically closes your airways to keep food and liquid from entering the windpipe. This amazing mechanism protects us from choking and makes swallowing safe. Next time you drink water, think about how your body works behind the scenes to keep you safe every step of the way. Why is Venus hotter than Mercury, even though it's farther from the sun? Despite Mercury being the closest planet to the sun, Venus holds the title of the hottest planet in our solar system. Its surface temperature reaches 460 degrees Celsius, or about 860 degrees Fahrenheit. This is all due to its dense atmosphere, mostly made up of carbon dioxide, which creates a powerful greenhouse effect, trapping heat. Venus's atmosphere acts like a giant blanket, making it resemble an inferno even though it's farther from the sun. Hell freezes over it every year. Believe it or not, there's a town in Norway called Hell, and it literally freezes over every winter. This is not a joke. It's a real place on the map, and although the town is quite small, It attracts tourists every year thanks to its unusual name. Due to Norway's cold climate, hell is covered in ice and snow every winter, often sparking jokes. "When hell freezes over" is a phrase that is rather common for the residents of this town. So if you want to see hell for yourself, head to Norway in the winter and watch it freeze over. It's hard to believe, but giraffes and humans have the same number of neck vertebrae. Despite the fact that a giraffe's neck is much longer, both giraffes and humans have the same number of neck vertebrae, 7. These bones provide support for the head and allow neck mobility. In giraffes, they are simply much longer than in humans. This fascinating fact highlights the amazing diversity of evolution in nature, despite the external differences between species.